Hello. Hello there. General Kenobi. Yo, what up? Hi. Sup, losers? How's it going? Oh, man. I want to show you guys what it looks like out here now. I don't know if you guys can see out the window at all. My very obviously a basement window. Okay, yeah, you can't really tell. It's snowing. There's been a lot of snow over the last couple of days. Like, lots and lots. Jax, good to see you. I haven't watched your video yet. I didn't get up early enough for it. So, but I will be watching it later today. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it'll be interesting. I wasn't able to stream yesterday. My arm was killing. Oh, you want my Tim Pool cosplay? Alright. There you go. Alright. I feel like I look like a fucking 12-year-old boy. Oh, Puck absolutely loves it. There'll be another Puck short coming out soon. Let me see if I can, like, adjust this. Does this need to get bigger? I think it needs to get smaller. Yeah. Maybe like this? Maybe like this? Yeah, that's better. So, we're, 40 plus minutes into this Mr. Beast interview with Oompaville. I think my thoughts on this have been relatively clear so far, but I'm gonna keep going because, like, I want to see what else they're gonna talk about, because it seems to be, like, pretty much the same response over and over again, where he, like, Oompaville will not quite get a direct question out. He's pretty much just saying, hey, do you have a general response to this situation? So, like, Oompaville's not actually presenting Mr. Beast with the direct criticisms, right? Which is, fine, whatever. Sure. I mean, it's not great, but sometimes that's a valid method. Is that the word I'm looking for? Like, it's a valid method to, like, try to extract information from people. Mr. Beast so far has come, he's very closed off and very defensive so far. From my take, I mean, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, like, he kind of seems like that to me all the time, but maybe that's just my take on the guy in general. But he's obviously not terribly comfortable with the situation, which is also reasonable. Like, I'm not gonna shit on the guy for being uncomfortable in the fucking around portion, or in his finding out portion of fucking around. Unfortunately, you're in a situation where it's like, listen, maybe, like, he's just a guy who maybe has some shitty ideas because he's kind of young, and like, he's fucked some stuff up. And I can understand people being, like, having that opinion. Unfortunately, when you're super rich, and unfortunately, when people's lives are in your hands because you are super rich, the expectations of, like, how you're supposed to handle things and the way people expect you to do things is to have at least put in some effort to be more responsible than the average Joe, because you have these resources that you are responsible for. Because if you're not responsible for these resources, why would you need to be more mature and put in extra effort for a resource you're not even managing, right? So, like, so far, the only criticism, by the way, that I've gotten on these videos is, I've been told to get a life. And I'm like, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I am Canadian. I, in fact, cannot go outside and touch grass right now. It is December. So, So, shall we get back into this? I forget what the last thing that they were talking about was, and I don't care to go and try to remember. I think it was the hospital thing, and I wasn't able to confirm anything they were saying because I couldn't even find the video they were fucking talking about. So, I could probably go find out if I did more, went digging for it, but the part of the point is that I kind of feel like I shouldn't have to. Like, if you're gonna be presenting me with this stuff, I feel like I shouldn't be the one that has to run around and do a bunch of homework, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's keep going. You can't hear that. One moment. Let me fix that for you. There we go. Yeah, by the way, I started at 12:30 today because 12:30 seems to be when everybody is more available who are around and watching this channel. So, take that for what you will.
Super ethical and hire a couple more teams for transparency and do something that not only the 300 million subscriber YouTuber, even if they don't like search out for it.
I agree.
And like, you guys are really good at this insane Mr. Beast thing, but like you said, even with sort of talking about the allegations in the beginning, you didn't want to make a video where you're just sitting, it just feels cringe and awkward.
Yeah, no.
Like but it makes sense, right? Like
It feels cringe and awkward is not a good excuse for not addressing some very serious criticism. Like, these are not small allegations. I know, like the ones they've been some of the ones they've been trying to address are pretty small allegations. Like the first one they talked about whether or not this some random dude's name is actually Delaware or not is like really stupid. Like, it's really stupid and really irrelevant. So, like, touch some snow. I do touch snow. Mr. Beast looks worried. Yeah, I mean, like, that's just because it makes you uncomfortable. Yeah, it should make you uncomfortable. Being faced with a shitload of allegations because of the things you've been fucking up for the last couple of years, like your mom being your HR manager until August of this year, is kind of fucked up. And you should feel awkward about that because that's weird and awkward.
I get your perspective and the outsider's perspective. It's cool to see, how it's not cool to see how angry people can get, but it is cool to see that there is a possible answer to those situations, like being super ethical and transparent in a way that nobody else has ever been before.
But he's not and isn't. There are plenty of people on YouTube and other charities that are very ethical and very transparent. How is Mr. Beast any more transparent than, like, I am, for example? Like, how is Mr. Beast more transparent than even Oompaville is? Like, Oompaville, from my understanding, has tried to be as transparent and open about pretty much everything he works on. Right? Like, I just don't see how that's... Behind-the-scenes video making has been around since, like, DVDs. Like, it was, like, a massive special feature type thing. So, like, what are you even talking about? It just feels like Oompaville is kind of like playing the court in Mr. Beast's favor. And like, I don't know why he's coddling him.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like you could probably do that. So there's evidence that you put your previous employees, friends, whatever.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did Jimmy just respond to Oompaville saying he could be transparent and do something that nobody else has done before? And then Jimmy incredulously said, really? Is that what I heard? Like, even Mr. Beast doesn't believe whatever bullshit Oompaville is saying right now?
It's cool to see, how... It's not cool to see how angry people can get, but it is cool to see that there is a possible answer to those situations, like being super ethical and transparent in a way that nobody else has ever been before.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like you could probably do that. So there's...
He said really. Even Jimmy doesn't believe whatever thing. He's not gonna do whatever Oompaville's telling him. He's barely even listening. Oh my god.
There's evidence that you put your previous employees, friends, whatever, controlled opposition in your challenge videos, such as the 100 boys versus 100 girls video.
Yeah.
Did you put them in that video or videos like that specifically to rig the outcome
of the challenge?
The challenge? And if so, do you think that's acceptable, Mr. Beast?
I know. That one was a big one. Videos talking about my 100 boys versus 100 girls video in the last couple months. That one... People really talked about that one. So, yes.
This is a yes or no question.
Sagi's video, he...
Yes? So the answer is yes. It's yes or no. Did you do this specifically to do this thing? Oompaville is giving Jimmy an out here by asking, like, did you put these people in as controlled opposition specifically to rig the game? And the first yes or no he gives is a yes, and now he's gonna go on and ramble like he's been doing every time. St. Jimmy said money changes people, and lots of money changes them a lot. No one can be that rich for long without becoming a shit heel. What's that word? What wasn't there a turn of phrase that was like, money doesn't change people, it reveals people, or something like that? It's like, if you give people the freedom to do whatever they want, they're gonna do whatever they would have done, right? Something like that. But yeah, my take on Mr. Beast is that before a lot of this had come out, somebody had asked me what my thoughts are about like him and like ethics. I was like, well, I have other ethical issues about the guy, but specifically about whether or not there's like illegal stuff going on or whatever's happening. I had said that it's hard to have that much money without being sketchy.
Talked about this and uncovered it. I'm surprised more people didn't. Like, my girlfriend, after that video, literally went on a podcast and described this. So it's not even like this was hidden information. This has been out there.
You were in the video 100 girls versus 100 boys for $500,000.
Yes. On the day, everybody had to go for COVID tests, and a lot of people came, got their COVID tests, and they tested positive. And the girls somehow ended up with way too little contestants. So I got a call randomly from the studio, and they're like, we need a female. I'm like, well, I am a female. I guess I could do this 100-hour challenge.
Were you dating at the time?
Yes.
And did the others know you were dating Mr. Beast at the time?
They pretended that they didn't, but I think some of them caught on.
Did he like move to the side of the circle and just check up on
he
you?
avoided eye contact at all costs.
But, I mean, literally.
So, yes.
Like she said on the podcast, we had 100 boys, 100 girls. They're competing in a video. Leading up to the video, they're supposed to quarantine. This was years ago when, at the height of COVID. A lot of questions people have about my videos, like that in these recent things I've noticed, usually the answer is like COVID, like why things aren't as like we would normally do it. But in this instance, they quarantined. When they showed up to the studio, a couple people on both sides tested positive for COVID. We didn't have them all in a group. We, isolated, tested. And so now, I'm stuck with a tough decision because we have all these people who just took off work for a week and took even more days off work to film this video. A couple people on each side of the 100 girls, 100 boys tested positive for COVID. I can't go grab random people off the street because they haven't quarantined, right? And back then, I think COVID tests are better now, but back then, it took like 2 days for the COVID test to be able to pick up whether or not you had COVID, something like that. Not a doctor. This isn't Joe Rogan. So.
That voice crack, no. Bro, it's a yes or no question. Yes or no. Next question. COVID was going on. Why did you even bother to film a giant group event? Why wouldn't you do like some other events or some other things that you could film and push that one back until after COVID, like literally every other industry had to do? Like, what? Huh? What?
Bro, no one knows that though, right? I could have just gone and grabbed random people off the street and it would have been fine. But I was trying to like be protective of the contestants. So my employees were routinely quarantining back then.
So yes, the answer is yes. He pulled in people who worked for him and it changed the dynamic of the game. The answer is yes.
Because, in the studio and things like that, we didn't want an outbreak. So I just went to the employees who weren't working on the 100 girls versus 100 boys video and was like, hey, I don't want to cancel this video. Who wants to be in it? And so a couple of them volunteered, filled in the empty gaps. My girlfriend quarantined with me, so I threw her in there. And then we got the numbers up. I was good. The video's on. And yeah, they were competing for money like everyone else.
The question was, did that rig the game? So you could have a valid reason of why you needed these people to be able to enter the challenge. That's not the question. The question was, does that rig the game? Did these people who were part of this challenge fuck up the challenge? And the answer is yes.
Transparency, I'll look at the camera. No, they were not there to rig it. I did not tell them what to get out. I did not tell them what to do. They had their own free will. And
There's literally footage of you telling these contestants to do something and them doing it. And your girlfriend just said you did not, in fact, disclose that your girlfriend was working for was in the girls' circle. Like, dude, why? Oh my god.
yeah, I really didn't think too much of it. And, here we are a couple years later, and that's turning into proof that I put employees in videos to rig them and script them, and they're just filling in for some people who got COVID.
Yeah, I think it's another situation in which it's like, sure, there's evidence or whatever of both or whatever. It's like a trust me bro versus a trust me bro.
But this one's not even a trust me bro. Like, I mean, my girlfriend literally years ago said on a podcast all of this, so it's not even like I'm retroactively making this up. I mean,
right.
I could probably go pull up COVID tests and
No, people are fine with the COVID thing. That's not the question. The trust me bro is you saying that doesn't affect, or you did nothing to rig where and what your employees did as part of the challenge. That's the question. Again, he can't address anything directly.
show you. I mean, it's
just in terms of like the interpretation of what people have for that specific event. Like when someone like you or someone with this big thing, people just see who they don't care. They see, oh, he's using his friends. Like, obviously it's fucking rigged, but they're not going to look into it. It's just optically, like there's so many things that.
All right, no, that's not true. That's not true. The issue isn't that he didn't have. There are issues of him having his friends in these undisclosed in these games, and he's not being transparent about that. Like, he's not telling people at the time of the video. He's not put a disclaimer out. He hasn't made people aware of that. Oh, his girlfriend said something in a podcast one time a number of years ago that somehow counts as him being transparent. Yeah, that's not how it works. Regardless, the problem isn't that people are misunderstanding and don't like Mr. Beast and so are therefore jumping to conclusions. The problem is that people have looked too much into this and have legitimate criticism that you are not presenting to Jimmy. And instead you're hand-waving the criticism away, which is a mistake. And again, I mean this in the kindest, most constructive way possible. If you hand wave it away, it's gonna make optically you look like you're bootlicking Jimmy. And you don't have what's your reason for doing so? You didn't even push back on the us versus them. You haven't pushed back on a single thing he said yet.
It's really easy. Like, there's such a crazy slippery slope.
Yeah.
For a lot of this stuff.
And it's like, the thing is, I mean, I could have been like, oh, people got COVID.
Nice straw man that you have been building of these criticisms that are just calling Jimmy evil, and I guess people who are critical of what Jimmy does are just meanie faces who already don't like him. Probably because they're jealous, I guess. I don't know.
And canceled it, and then we'd be sitting here talking about how I had these people quarantined for 7 days, and then I just rug pulled them. You know what I mean? And so, it's a little bit of.
Well, possibly, yeah, if you rug pulled them and didn't compensate them for their time. But if you did the ethical, transparent thing and said, hey, we scheduled this video, we weren't able to film it because of COVID, because too many people who were quarantined tested positive on the day of filming, I paid them for their time, got them sent home, and we tried to reschedule it, then no, people wouldn't be accusing you of rug pulling people because you didn't rug pull. The reason you're getting accused of rug pulling people is because of your crypto shit. So no, stop inventing hypotheticals. Hypothetical straw men for you to beat up. Come on. That's not the criticism. If you're transparent, then you wouldn't be having this issue. If you, in your video description, did something or a background video, or an update video, or a how-to video, you went, yeah, no, we had to get or in post, had pop-up video bullshit that just said, this person's my girlfriend, LOL, like, and then just had a little mini disclaimer at the beginning that said, hey, due to COVID restrictions, I ended up having to pull some of my friends in for the video. Whatever decisions they made on their own or whatever. Like, they're not working for you, they're still participating. But, like, the thing is like, it's not even like this is the only time. Because part of the criticism is that it's happened multiple times, not one time. And times where Jimmy interferes with what's going on, right? So, like, there's multiple scenarios. This is just one example. So he's trying to cherry pick a straw man of one example that's a sidestep of the actual criticism about even that example that isn't even the only thing that builds this argument up or this criticism into a thing, right? Like, it's like masterclass of gaslighting, straw manning, and deflection.
Damned if you, damned if you don't. Like, either way, I'd be sitting here talking to you about it, you know? So I just tried to take the most ethical, moral stance and, you know.
You didn't do anything. Your girlfriend on a podcast one time said that shit out loud. You didn't come out and say that shit out loud. When you were criticized for it, you didn't come out and say that shit out loud until now. It's been 4 months. Then there's also, like, you didn't disclose that information initially either. So you didn't do the transparent, moral, and have the ethical stance at the time at all. That's just a fucking lie. What the fuck? You didn't do shit.
Prioritize health and, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Were you prioritizing health? Because you still did this event that had 200 people, which is more than you were supposed to have around in COVID, and did that anyway. And you didn't say that you tested your employees. You just said that your employees were regularly quarantining. So did you, though?
Yeah,
I agree.
So, yeah.
Well, I
think
mean,
that's
you...
fair.
Tell that to the woman who complained about not being able to get access to, like, sanitary lady items during your filming, you asshole.
Well, hopefully now that people hear the truth, they agree as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just...
But you haven't provided that, and you haven't provided any evidence of that either. All you did was confirm that, yeah, you had your employees working there, but trust me, bro, I definitely didn't tell them what to do.
Yeah, it's been brutal hearing that misinformation be spread.
Yeah.
What misinformation? You said the thing that they've also been saying. They just came to a different conclusion based on they don't believe trust me, bro. And yeah, it is 100% trust me, bro. Nobody's asking you to provide people's fucking COVID tests, which theoretically would be considered medical information, which if you cared about people's health, you wouldn't be offering to provide people's private medical information to the internet, you jackass. Like, are we serious right now? Like, is this real? Like, hello? What? Is there not, like, a non-disclosure agreement or some kind of presumption of privacy that Mr. Beast would have for these individuals? And that he just threw to the wind with complete disregard? Am I wrong about that? Would that not be, like a massive, like, breach of contract? What? Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe America has, like, I'm not American. Maybe America just doesn't care about its citizens' health privacy. So maybe Mr. Beast does have the right to disclose people's medical testing. I doubt it. But here's the other thing I doubt. I doubt Mr. Beast knows either. So I suspect that he just threw that out there with complete disregard for those people's safety.
Yeah, I can't imagine that, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of people who really do not like you at all.
Yeah.
How does it feel in real life? Do you feel
ask him about the ethical implications of locking somebody in a fucking casket and burying them alive for 7 days. He just said he wants to make these ethical, moral decisions in regards to people's health. And he's the one who brought up burying someone alive for 7 days. How about ask him about that? Oh man, people don't like you. Maybe people don't like him because he's a fucking ethical nightmare creature. Like, maybe ask him about something relevant that he's brought up. Like, hello? No? Alright.
In real life at all, or is it just internet?
No, it's just the internet. We talked a little bit before this. I mean, also, it's late at night. I just flew here to do this. This is a very impromptu thing.
Yeah.
But for like the 10 minutes we were talking before we started recording, I was telling him, like, no one in real life has any idea of any of this. Like, I meet hundreds of people, and they're all just like, yo, what's up, Mr. B?
Your mom doesn't know that people, like, a large number of people thinks that it's insane that she was your HR manager for like 10 years.
They never bring it up.
Yeah.
But then you would open up Reddit. I mean, it doesn't help that they're censoring positive posts.
That's a lie. We already confirmed it's a lie. In fact, his own evidence that he submitted in the fucking description in this Google Docs showed that this was a lie.
And you would think, well, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, that does make sense. You would think everyone hates me because anyone who does it, their post gets deleted. So actually, that makes perfect sense.
That is not true, and again, we're back to, oh, everybody who's critical of me just hates me. These criticisms are general criticisms and are irrelevant about whether or not people like you or don't like you. If you just brush off every piece of criticism that, oh, well, they just don't like me, then you're never going to get any criticism because you're superseding it. So the criticism can't be honest criticism. All the criticism has to be biased in a way that they don't like you. You said you buried somebody alive for 7 days. That is a health hazard and ethically unsound. Can you please explain your ethical reasoning and your moral reasoning as to why doing this was okay? You had somebody in isolation in a prison who has PTSD over it and forced him to run a triathlon length of time on a fucking treadmill in horrific conditions where you tortured that man. Tell me what your ethical reasoning for doing that was. He was in there looking like shit, fucking exhausted, wanting not to be there. You fucking strutted into that room while he was in there and told him to run a marathon. You did that. You saw what the state he was in. You knew what was going on. You knew the length of time. You knew the stress and conditions he was under. Mr. I care about people's health. Mr. I want to do the most moral and ethical decisions. And then you asked and demanded this clearly mentally unsound person, due to the torture and stress that you put them under, to run on a treadmill until he had blisters and his feet were bleeding. What is your ethical and moral principles that allow this? In what way is what you did ethical and moral? And how is it taking any concern for that individual's health? This criticism is not coming from whether or not I personally like you. This is a sound, reasonable question based on actions you have taken that is irrelevant to whether or not anyone fucking likes you. What is your reasoning? Justify it. Nope, we're doing it. We're doing it. I haven't done it in a long time, but we're doing it. Tell Elmo! Tell Elmo. Explain your modal ethics or virtue ethics. What school of ethics are you utilizing, Jimmy? Oh, I'm so fucking ethical. I just care about people. I'm being criticized for making the most ethical decision, moral decision in my care for people's health. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god, you piss baby.
Yeah, it's like, and even some of the YouTubers.
Yeah, Oompaville, yeah, just yeah. You're just gonna let him do that? Okay.
That I know, like you mentioned sending a clip to YouTubers and they're like, well, it's just not cool I don't want to be
Yeah.
seen as a Mr. Beast glazer. I mean,
Which is, trust me, bro, they definitely did that, and definitely not that the evidence that he sent didn't actually show what he claims it showed, and so they were like, maybe not.
even the sort of feelings amongst YouTubers, the people who their responsibility is to, well, responsibility, very loose use of the term, to talk about anything online or whatever, you know, even they're afraid or they just don't want, like, so it's just the internet. There's this really weird.
Oh, so, like, just the internet is too afraid to criticize Mr. Beast? What the fuck are you talking about? Or stand up for Mr. Beast? This is so stupid. This is stupid. This is very dumb.
You know, the sort of echo chamber. Not that obviously everything that you've done is can just be swept under the rug. I mean, you've admitted to mistakes. I think that everything that you.
What? What did he admit to? He admitted to doctoring footage that misled people, but that wasn't him, and so he didn't actually take responsibility for that. And he didn't take responsibility for how it was misleading. And then made a bunch of excuses. So, what exactly can you name that he's admitted to? He admitted to his mom being his HR manager? Is that what he even admitted to? Oh, I am listening. I'm listening very closely to what they're saying, and I think that might be the problem.
That is a genuine mistake. You once again have the most to gain from all this, so it's not going to fucking hurt you to just admit where you're wrong or whatever. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting one, the 100 boys versus 100 girls video, because to me, without looking into it at all, it's like that does seem weird, right? Like it just seems like once again a conflict of interest. But at the same time, you're making YouTube videos. You're not making like. I don't know. You can endlessly make excuses for it and against it. It seems like that's why I'm saying it's kind of.
I mean, I think between.
So, whether or not what you're making is a YouTube video, like the final result, you have to keep in mind that one, Mr. Beast is a company. They're doing production. It is a conflict of interest. It might not be a legal conflict of interest, but again, the difference between whether or not you disclose what that conflict of interest is between what the audience is seeing and what is actually happening in the background of production. One of the things about putting on a show is to mislead the audience, right? If you go and watch Wicked on Broadway, Elphaba isn't actually flying, but the audience agrees and the actors agree to suspend their disbelief that the person is flying. So there's nothing wrong with presenting something a little bit more like fantastical than it is, right? That's not a big issue, right? Like that's not really a problem. So like creating this boys versus girls and then having to like poke the contestants one way or another to not necessarily control the result, but to make the video more interesting is in a bubble totally fine. What's not okay in a bubble is when you mislead people and lie to them that this is totally unscripted and we haven't done anything to interfere with this and there is no conflict of interest when there absolutely 100% is. You have to make that balance. You have to understand what those balances are, right? And clearly Mr. Beast does not understand those things. Have an open mind. He's big business owner and things are going to happen. A lot of mistakes of when he was younger are biting him. Oh, you mean like his mom being his HR manager up until August of last year? As a big businessman? Like that? But that doesn't mean that Dogpack's baseless, outrageous claims are true. Which baseless, outrageous claims? Like, which ones are you talking about? There are a lot of claims in that video. I'm assuming you mean the first one. Chesh isn't actually green. Short, on the other hand, that's up for debate. True. Right, and here's the thing. understand, because I'm getting the feeling that Caden might be new here. Caden, what we do here is analytics. So what I am doing here is I am not discussing whether or not accusations made in Dogpack's video are true. If I was doing that, then I'd be watching Dogpack, because if I wanted to prove or disprove Dogpack, I would need to show what Dogpack is doing. What I'm reviewing and being critical of here is whether or not Mr. Beast's answers to this interview and his behavior and what he says in this interview actually addresses the criticism. And so the problem so far is that he's not addressing the criticism. He's deflecting the criticism. Right? So even if the criticism that has been made has no leg to stand on, it's irrelevant because Mr. Beast isn't addressing it. Regardless. Right? He grew into a big businessman. He didn't have 500 employees when he was 19. Who cares? And now he does, and he has to be responsible for that. I'm not going to pull punches on him. What is he, a child? Why should I do that? He's a big businessman after all. Why would I need to pull punches? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, by the way, don't feel bad for discussing. These streams are very open-ended. So, like, Caden's more than welcome to make his arguments and points or whatever. That's fine. I have a question, though. Can you please explain to me the moral, ethical framework behind burying someone alive for 7 days for entertainment? I would like an answer to that.
Like the contestants and people we've given stuff to in videos, like pretty confidently say like less than 1% of it's employees. So, you know, if you're
I know I interrupted him fast that time. I'm gonna put that back, but there is one thing that I do want to point out about this particular set of criticism. So this particular set of criticism is about that he gives already rich people that he knows extravagant things instead of actually, like, you know, being the charity guy that he's supposed to be, and people don't like that. Like, that rubs people the wrong way, right? So that's what he's referring to. Yeah, Jimmy needs to be treated with kitty gloves. All right, sorry. I'll put that back so he can say. He can go on his rant of saying nothing.
You're not making, like, I don't know. You can endlessly make excuses for it and against it, it seems like. That's why I'm saying it's kind of...
I mean, I think between, like, the contestants and people we've given stuff to in videos, like, pretty confidently say, like, less than 1% of it's employees. So, you know, if you were to take everyone who's ever been in the video, so, like, we're like...
Guys, if I've only ever raped 1% of sheep that I've seen, if I've only ever had sex with 1% of sheep that I've ever met, why are you calling me a sheep fucker? That's not... Huh? Huh? He buried himself because he knew it would go viral, just like all of his other videos. That's not the question. What is the moral and ethical framework behind doing something, burying someone alive for 7 days? That's the question. Can you answer that question? It's not an easy question to answer, admittedly. And whether or not content is good is relative to you. That's subjective. If you like his content, that's fine. You're welcome to like his content. Yeah, we're not assessing whether his content is any good or not. Correct. It's whether or not his content is good is going to be based on whatever criteria you're deciding to lay forward, and that I may or may not agree with your criteria. If you're like, his videos make money and do lots of... he did it to himself, why does it matter? So you can't answer the question. You cannot answer a question about what the framework is, the ethical and moral framework is of burying someone alive for 7 days for entertainment. Okay. Because there are ethical considerations. Correct, exactly. All right. What was I saying? Yeah, well, right. He was saying, oh, I've only done this like 1% of the time. Yeah, if you fuck sheep 1% of the time that you interact with sheep, people are going to call you a sheep fucker. So what you're saying is that the criticism stands, but you don't think the criticism is valid because you don't think you do it often enough and people shouldn't care, but that's not up to you, so too bad.
And a lot of it was, like I said, during the COVID time, where it's just like, well, I'm trying to be responsible, and I know so it's like, I mean, yeah, I think when you look at it through those lenses, I feel like any rational person would be like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that you're a sheep fucker. You are a rich person who gave money, who's the charity guy who gave money to his rich friends. Money, prizes, whatever. Yeah, so you're a sheep fucker. There's nothing about that doesn't make sense. It's that it rubs people the wrong way, which again, you're not addressing the criticism. You don't think he is reflecting it or making excuses. He is explaining the questions. What question has Oompa asked, by the way? Right now, so far, Oompaville has only really asked very open-ended general questions. He actually hasn't asked any of the criticism. So, like, the questions that Oompaville is asking are like, well, how do you feel about this? Or, can you tell me about that? That's not exactly like... That is one of the, has he considered that children will want to try to replicate what he does? That is one of the ethical considerations, right? Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that would be one of the ethical considerations. There's lots of ethical considerations around a lot of Mr. Beast videos, right? So, I mean, take your pick, right? The other one is the guy that Dogpack interviewed, right? What's the ethical what's the ethical and concern for people's health in that video? Like, take your pick. So it doesn't matter, right?
Okay, so now on to the response to critics. So the first person really to respond to critics was Chucky. But the second person, it seemed like, was Soggy Cereal, YouTuber, yes. Commentary YouTuber. He made a video, and he's been, that video is sort of blowing up a little bit. It's not quite to the level of Dogpack's video when it first came out, but it's coming up, and he did his best to disprove a lot of Dogpack's claims, and even held you accountable for a lot of stuff in his video, which I thought was good. I thought his video was pretty good. I liked his video a lot, and I like him a lot. I've talked to him since that came out. I've talked to him a couple times. Yeah, he has criticized you.
Caden says he literally addressed every major allegation made against him in this interview. What do you mean? Delaware, HR, Feastables, etc.? No, he hasn't. He's deflected it. He hasn't actually addressed the criticism. He strawmanned the criticisms to go on, like, rambly nonsense to do non-answers and not take accountability for actually anything. And at best, give an excuse or shuffle off responsibility to other people, like editors, for example.
Today and last night, I think, to sort of timestamp when this video is being recorded so people know, he said,
give me a timestamp of where Mr. Beast directly addresses any single piece of criticism. I'm nearly an hour into this, and I have not seen that happen once. Talking about it doesn't equal addressing it. Correct. Jake Weddle, who was making $10K a day to stay in a box, he could leave at any time, right? No, he couldn't leave at any time. He asked to leave, and they told him no, according to his account. So no. And again, it doesn't matter. I'm asking you what the ethical considerations were. Mr. Beast is saying... Mr. Beast is... Let me write this down for you in crayons, Caden. I appreciate your comments. Listen very closely. Mr. Beast is claiming that he makes ethical, moral decisions that look out for people's health, right? So, when deciding to film a video, and the video concept is putting someone in solitary confinement for X amount of time, what is the ethical and moral and health considerations that are, like, where are you checking the boxes? In what ethical framework is what he's doing sound? That's what I am asking. It doesn't matter if he's paying the person. It doesn't matter who the individual is. What are the safety and ethical considerations that Mr. Beast is putting forward that makes what this is and what he's proposing ethical and moral? I'm gonna give you one last chance to answer the question. Otherwise, all you're doing is pushing propaganda for Mr. Beast. Can you tell me what the ethical framework is for putting somebody in solitary confinement for entertainment? What's the ethical framework? He wanted to leave before and they wouldn't let him. Correct. He claims that they would not let him, and he could not leave at any time he wanted. He asked them to turn off the lights, and they refused. Mr. Beast then came in and told him to run a marathon, and he ran until his feet bled. Well, he was not in sound mind. Yeah, so this is just apologetics. What is the ethical framework? Period.
So I guess criticized you sharing his video with other YouTubers as a way to shield yourself from criticism, you know, like deeming the video to people. He also expressed feeling used by you.
Caden, that is not the question. The question is, what is the ethical framework? You need to explain the framework. That doesn't answer the question. Do you know what ethics are? Because now I'm pretty sure you don't know what ethics are. Can you describe to me, can you define what an ethical and consent can be revoked? Correct. Alex has got it. Alex knows what he's talking about. Good job, Alex. Jack says clearly there isn't an ethical framework. Right, exactly. That's the problem. That there isn't an ethical framework behind it. Mr. Beast thinks torturing people for it is good entertainment. That's the framework we're dealing with. Like, he regularly makes these videos that put individuals in extreme and hostile situations. You can say the same thing about the guy who stayed in the grocery store where Mr. Beast turned the power off without telling him. That one made me, like, that one was bad. I couldn't watch that video. I was like, that's horrific. Like, that was really, really bad. So again, as much as you want to cherry pick a specific individual and make excuses for an individual time, there's more than one instance. And this happens all the fucking time. So you need to explain. That's why I'm not asking you about every single fucking video. What I'm asking is, what's the ethical framework that justifies or says that this style of video is okay? Does he need a log fire, or does he need to wear a hoodie indoors? Because I don't see needing both. That's a good point out, Ash. That's a good point out. He's sitting by a fire and he's got a hoodie on. We've already defined that that's not true. And that also does not, that actually doesn't also address another issue, which is coercion, by the way, Caden. Do you know what coercion is? Because coercion is a whole ass issue, right? Because if people are doing something under, they've been under duress, right? So, for example, like we can talk about the solitary confinement comedian, right? The solitary confinement comedian, while he was not in his right state of mind, due to the circumstances that we can pretend he consented to, which I would disagree with you on, but let's, for the sake of argument, say that he consented to this scenario, and was clearly not in the right state of mind, but did he choose to get on the treadmill and run it? Was he in the state of mind to be able to make that decision in the first place? And is it coercion for Mr. Beast to have proposed it in the way that he did about relating this thing that was not originally part of what he consented to and added it in, right? It's because he's cold-blooded. Solitary confinement is considered a war crime under the Geneva Convention. Basically, what he's doing is comparable to the Stanford prison experiment. Yes. Familiar with the experiment from the 70s. Yes. If you are unfamiliar with the Stanford prison experiment, I absolutely recommend looking it up. And this is one of the reasons why psychology is actually a little bit behind comparatively to like medical science, is because studying people's psychology is kind of considered torture in some cases. So you would argue, for example, the Stanford prison experiment is that, well, they were college kids who we gave money to and they consented to the experiments, and the answer was no. And so those experiments were actually deemed illegal. So nobody's allowed to do those experiments anymore. But apparently it's fine as long as you film it for YouTube and your name is Mr. Beast. You are literally just pushing lies. This is only ever even a big thing in the first place because of Dogpack's outrageous false accusation videos. You are just pushing those lies. I'm out. How? Did he not do a video where he had a guy in solitary confinement? Yes. Did he do a video where a guy was in a grocery store for he was getting like $10,000 a day? Yes. Where's the lie? What is the ethical consideration? Wow, it's almost like, oh no, I like Mr. Beast too much. I can't handle basic criticism and understanding of ethics and human interaction. La 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 la. And just because there is initial consent doesn't make it right. Yes, that's also an issue. There are people who can be victims of abuse that never view themselves as victims because they think whatever happened to them was okay. That doesn't mean it is, right? That person's personal identity does not sometimes is circumcised by the situation, and sometimes people are considered to be in not a sound mind. And here's the other thing. What if one of the people who consented to doing this views that consent as a mistake? Is what happened to them still okay? Or even if, this person thinks that whatever happened to them was okay. Well, was it though? And in ethics, you should be able to explain, right, whether and how, under what ethical framework something was okay or not okay, right? So if whatever Mr. Beast is doing, right, is ethically sound, then it should be very easy, albeit maybe obtuse to some people who don't do philosophy and don't do ethics. Unfortunately for Caden, I do, and that's kind of a thing that I talk about a lot, which is why we're here. It might be difficult for some people to grasp, but it's not that difficult. It should be pretty straightforward. If the ethical framework revolves around, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the health and good of other people, right? Of like people's safety. Then the ethical, like what are the pillars of what you're saying this is okay is based off of, right? Is there a follow-up? Is there psychological counseling? Yeah, that would be actually a really good point, right? Like, if you're going to do this to somebody, are they fully aware of what they're getting into? And is it ethical when they've already gotten themselves in the situation and they are not necessarily in their right mind due to the circumstances? Is it ethical for an individual in power to go in and demand that they do something? Are they able to make that decision? Let's see. Alex says to Jessica, someone has to expose him to the entrance of the cave at some point. Caden says, intrigued, they can leave at any time. That doesn't answer the question, Caden. Show me proof that they were forced to stay there, then I'll believe it. That's not the question that's being asked. I don't know where you're from in America. How it works is innocent until proven guilty. This is not a court of law. The internet is not America. You were just pushing Dogpack scandal lies. Simple as that. Bitchware. Jessica says, you're not listening, kid. Intrigue says, Caden, it has been told to you multiple times, no, they could not leave at any time. Well, actually, there's another layer of that too, Feline, right? Where you can add in that even if they could say no and leave at any time, were they cognizant enough and able to make that decision for themselves, right? Because when you are placed in solitary confinement for any considerable time and you are put in the situation that was described in the video, not what was described by the contestant, what was actually in the video, not what was said by Dogpack, what was actually in the video that Mr. Beast produced, under those circumstances, people are not in their right mind and not able to make those types of decisions. And so even if he could leave at any time, is that actually, like, what was the safe word? Like, what was the safety measures that were put in place? Were there any? And on top of that, like, even if he could say no and leave at any time, and there was no coercion, which I think that there was, and I can explain how and why, but set that aside for now. Even if there was no coercion, was this individual in a state of mind that would make them able, and were there safety measures put in place to enable this person to opt out at any time? By the way, what is your proof that they were allowed to leave at any time? Because you're stating this as a fact, and you're demanding evidence from other people. So what evidence do you have that you can show that they were actually able to leave at any time? Is Caden willing to come on and explain their position? What position? Where this conversation is too complicated for me? Because that seems to be their and la nah, you're a bad person. We even asked him what lies about Dogpack he's talking about, and they can't even describe what those are. There is no base to claim saying they were forced to stay there, so no, I don't believe it. What base? What are you talking about? The base is an eyewitness account. Intrigued, so just because... Oh, sorry, hold on. I'm losing chat. Here we go. Pay attention and you'll learn what ethics is. You have to be willing to learn. You have to have an open mind to be able to learn. But this person who has come in here demanding that we have an open mind and demand we listen, which we have been doing very carefully, mind you. What Caden is actually asking for, sorry, I shouldn't assume he. What Caden is actually asking for and demanding is that we just listen to Mr. Beast and believe him by fiat. Because there hasn't been any proper evidence shown in this, and any evidence that we've actually looked at from the document is a fucking joke. Like, it's a joke. And if at best it shows the opposite of what he's been trying to claim so far. Doesn't matter what you believe, facts don't care about your feelings. Yeah, well, there is that. Chesh is Canadian. Canada isn't real, though. Fair. They say, hey, I'm done with the challenge, now let me out, and they open the door. It's pretty simple. Prove it. Where did you get that information from? Also, that's not a safe word. Also, according to the witness testimony, he did, and they didn't let him out. They coerced him to stay longer. And the proof of that is witness testimony. Testimony is a little bit of a loose term because we're not in a court, but based on what the witness claimed, based on what the individual this happened to claimed. So tell me, why should we believe Mr. Beast and you, for example, who is a third party, who has no information, it seems, versus the person it happened to? Rather have people indicated they wanted to leave and left. That's a good point. Yeah. I used to think Mr. Beast was on, but then I looked at the evidence and now I think he's scum. I haven't believed a word from his mouth since "this drink tastes good." The safe word is Fuggle. Hold on, I'm gonna try and read this. I believe in me. Fuggle Heimlin. Caden needs to prove the witness is lying. Yep. Listen, Caden. I appreciate your comments and I appreciate your opinion, but like, your opinion's not worth a whole lot. No offense, but I kind of don't care. What you're saying doesn't make any sense. It's not valid, is what I'm saying. Your opinion is not valid, and it is not backed up by information, nor any kind of modal ethical standard. So, I mean, you can go and look up what ethics are, and maybe come back. Good luck. All right, let's keep going with this.
Given that you used his video as a strategy to...
Intrigued, Caden's gonna challenge you about the way legal works. We're not accusing Mr. Beast of breaking the law, Caden. This isn't a court of law. Stop. Ethics are woke. Oh, no. It may be valid just on... Oh, sorry, yes. I regularly do that. I flip valid and sound. I apologize. Your opinion is valid, but it's not sound. Thank you for the correction. Oh my god. Please tell me this is like the A stringers of like the Mr. Beast defense line, because if it is, oh boy. I love when the best defense somebody has is, nuh-uh, no you. You're a meanie face. So what if let's pretend that I am being mean to Mr. Beast. So what? What have I said that's incorrect? However mean I am about it, right? We don't even know. You still haven't told us what baseless false accusations I'm spreading and how they're false in the first place. Good God. Caden, I'm so sorry. You're gonna have a bad time.
Gather...
Caden, is the earth flat? I'm curious to know your opinion.
Criticism, like deeming the video to people. He also expressed feeling used by you, given that you used his video as a strategy to gather favor from the public. Which, that's pretty wordy. It's like it just happened today. It's got to be something like, how do you feel about him feeling that way? Because he's not really defending you. He's more so trying to hold light to truth, which I appreciate that massively. Yeah. And I do, talking to him, I do believe that he is an honest guy. How do you interpret his responses on Twitter if you've seen them? Have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen them. I interpret as him just trying to be honest with his audience and just expressing how he feels. And I think, obviously he...
Jessica, how dare you call us debate bros? How dare you? I am offended. Oh, goodness. Oh, good God. Good fucking Lord.
He probably, in his head, if he was even being more honest, he'd probably be like, Jimmy, why don't you just say these things? Why am I saying it? And I think, obviously, now that...
That's stupid. There's valid reasons why different YouTubers would want to take Dogpack's videos and analyze it. And I think that's one of the things that, this goes against what they were saying earlier. Earlier they were saying, oh, it wasn't cool to be on Mr. Beast's side and nobody wants to be like like a shill for Mr. Beast, right? And so like no YouTuber wanted to like do that, and now they're talking about a YouTuber who literally did that, and then now they're making fucking like now he's just making up shit about him based off nothing. Like he just said, well, I think in his head, if he was being more honest, blah blah blah. He just made that up. Like, how does he know what's going on inside this guy's head, who Oompaville just told him didn't like that Jimmy was thanking him because he has issues with Jimmy too, right? I think it's reasonable and would be expected for YouTubers to look at Dogpack's video and unpack it, as it were. And I think that's reasonable. Do I agree with everything in Dogpack's videos? No. I don't even, like, I have moral and ethical questions about Mr. Beast and the way he's run his videos and his company for long before Dogpack. And there's video evidence of this. You've seen me talk about it before. So Dogpack's video, to me, is ultimately irrelevant. A lot of these controversies, to me, are like, yes and, right? Like, so what? Most of these things, I think, if Jimmy was a better person, I think most of these controversies could easily be dealt with and earnestly be basic mistakes. But because of my prior ethical concerns about Jimmy's videos and behaviors, like the fact that he basically bought his YouTube career through giveaways, which is a massive problem, and a massive problem for YouTube, and a massive problem, plus business ethics, whole other issue. I don't believe by fiat that these are just mistakes. I think that there's too much groundwork of Jimmy not giving a shit at best and being exploitative at worst, that I don't believe that these are just simple mistakes that a young person was making. You need more than that to convince somebody like me, at the very least.
I'm here and doing this, that will alleviate it. But I could see how it feels. Like, obviously, I saw that video and it, disproved. I mean, there are some things in there I don't agree with, and he does go pretty hard on me, so which people seem to forget. But there are a lot of things in there that he disproved, and yeah.
I don't have necessarily comment on this because I haven't watched that video. I've been sticking with direct things. So I haven't watched. The only commentary that I've watched on this has been, I watched one video from CoffeeZilla. Everything else has been like direct, either Dogpack or the comedian or now Mr. Beast directly. So I have not watched any third-party assessments. I've only been watching first-party stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I got excited and shot it over to a bunch of creators who covered the false information. It was just like, look, I could see how, that looks like I'm hiding behind it. Luckily, I'm here talking to you, so yeah. I don't think that will be a problem.
It's too bad that Caden's gone already. I'd be curious to know how old they are. Oh, he's still here. Caden, how old are you? Are you like 14?
Anymore, but obviously, he's not, when he tweeted that,
I'm glad you're still here. Caden said, in my opinion, they are mistakes. That's fine. You can believe that. I'm not going to have one thing or another to say about that. But I see your side now. I appreciate you saying that you don't believe everything Dogpack said. Yeah, no, I don't. Why would I? That wouldn't make any sense. This is just not a video criticizing Dogpack. If I was going to do that, I'd have to have Dogpack. Like, I'd be watching Dogpack's video. Also, I'm not saying Jimmy is a saint. I'm not even saying he's a good person. Yeah, I don't think you said that. I would agree. You believe he is innocent. Innocent of what? What do you think he's innocent of? Hey, Honest Red. I mean, like, he's not being accused of crime. So, I don't know what you mean, I guess. Or you just mean, like, his mistakes are honest mistakes. Like, he's not, you don't think that you believe him when he says, like, oh, that was a mistake that my editors made, that just wasn't caught. Like, you believe that what he's saying there is accurate or true. Is that what you mean? I'm not criticizing you, I'm just trying to understand. Also, by the way, if you want to come in and understand people and not make yourself look like a jackass, I would recommend asking questions before making accusations.
Doesn't know we were doing this, doesn't know this is coming out. I mean, he might now. I don't, you talk to him, but yeah, so like I don't blame him. You know what I mean? It's a reasonable thing. Like, I think if I were to read a little between lines, he's just saying like, I don't want to be a shield. Jimmy, say something. You know what I mean? Like, actually go address things. And like,
Yeah, because he's really not defending you. He's just disproving Dogpack. Like that.
Exactly.
That's the primary kind of driver, or that's how I interpreted his video. I was like, oh, this is pretty balanced. Yeah, I like him. He's a cool dude. So
yeah, he didn't go with the grain and disproved a lot of things. But yeah, also went kind of hard on me.
I like that Mr. Beast is still not proving anything. It's basically all he's done is just say things. He hasn't actually shown anything. And admittedly, like, the things that are being shown are in this document, which is, okay, fine, but this document doesn't actually, like, deal with any of the criticism. Like, this doesn't answer anything. Like, this isn't... Like, we went over this... We've done... This is our third video on this, so we went over some of this already, and, like, this doesn't... Specifically this one, like, really irked me. Where is it? Where are you? Oh, yeah, the Reddit ones are really stupid. The Reddit ones disprove what he was trying to say about Reddit, so that's fine. Where is it? No, come on. This is stupid. I know I explained that last time, but that one was annoyingly dumb. Oh, here we go. Can Mr. Beast provide the audits of Beast Philanthropy, right? Here's a link to the transparency report. He's asked for an audit. He says he can give a transparency report on Beast Philanthropy website. Coffee, if you want to do a deep dive, I'd still love to have one. So he's talking about CoffeeZilla, I assume, which is talking about his crypto wallets. And here is this, if you click on this, this takes you to this. This is not a transparency report. This is not an audit. This is literally none of those things. This is like a flyer. So to sit here and say, oh my god, here's his transparency report, he's so transparent, and you ask for an audit and he hands you a magazine? Are you fucking serious? Like, how stupid does he think his critics, not his critics, he thinks his audience is fucking dumb that they would look at this? Yeah, it's a pamphlet. This is not a transparency report. This is not an audit of any company at all. This is propaganda. Is this an honest mistake? No. This is bullshit. Yes, that's what I mean. I'm a salesman at a company, so I know mistakes happen. His company is way too large at this point for there not to be mistakes. So yes, I believe there are mistakes. Yeah, I mean, I believe there are mistakes too, and I believe there are some things that are honest mistakes. I just don't believe that he's addressing the criticism appropriately, and if they were honest mistakes, why would you not address the criticism directly and appropriately? Right? It's not a report or an audit at all. Yeah, but he's telling people it is. Can he provide audits? Here's a link to a transparency report. Huh? What? And this is the problem, right? He's not taking accountability. That as well. So here's the thing, right? Mr. Beast is relying on the fact that he's done charity and good things so that people that are part of his audience will believe him and think he's an honest person or think he's a good person. But part of the problem is that he doesn't do charity, he does business. And his business includes doing charity in quotes. So he makes money off of charity, making it not actually charity most of the time, right? Not all the time. I'm sure there are charitable events that he has held, but if he's filming it and producing it and making money off of it, then it is not charity and it is not philanthropy, right? So it's kind of hard to be the charity guy when what you actually do is make money off of people suffering by quote unquote doing charity. There's also, like, it's really notorious that when charity is done like that, if you look at, like, the numbers and the statistics and the science behind it, a lot of those things aren't actually very helpful for those people in need because, like, it's a one-time assist that helps them for the sake of the video. And then, like, does Mr. Beast do a follow-up, right? One of the videos I looked at, or I showed not yesterday, the day before, right, was that he did this thing where he went to a shelter and adopted 100 dogs. Has there been a follow-up on those 100 dogs and what conditions they're in and where they are and what they're doing and blah, 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 blah. Right? Like, these are the things that are involved and in doing charity. These are the things that are involved if you want to be ethical, right? That's not true, though, Caden. Right? Half of what you said is true. I believe that he does a lot of very good things. Sure. That's fine. You can believe that. I'm a little bit more cynical about it. I'm sure he's done good things. We can agree on that. But the money he makes off the video is what allows him to do those things. How? And how does that justify the ethical considerations of potential exploitation? If you film giving a homeless person $100 and then you make $1,000 off of that video, how is that ethical? Right? And doing good things doesn't negate bad things. That's also a really good point as well, Jessica. Yes, absolutely. And so, like, if right, it doesn't work. He wouldn't make any money to do charity if he didn't have a business. That's why it's charity versus business. That's why what I'm saying he's doing isn't charity. It might result in good things, but it is business and not charity. He has a business that does things for money, and sometimes that business benefits individuals, right? But you could say that about any business. The grocery store has a raffle, and they make money off of the raffle. They're not doing charity, they're doing business. People eat food that they get from the grocery store. That's still business, right? Like, that's not charity. That's business. So what Mr. Beast actually does is business, not charity. He makes money off of sometimes doing good things for some people, and sometimes, about 1% of the time, according to Mr. Beast, the people he's helping are his rich friends who are, like, the people he's giving stuff away to are his already rich friends. God, I'm sorry, Caden. I appreciate what you're trying to say, but it's circular. Businesses can, okay, listen, no, all right, okay, no, definitively no. You might be conflating two things. A business can do, like, a Christmas drive, right? So let's say you work in an office, and that office goes, hey, we're going to ask everybody who works in the office to donate $10, and the business is going to then match any donation, and they're going to give that donation to wherever. The Red Cross. Let's call it the Red Cross, right? That's not the business. That's the business giving to charity, which is a tax write-off for the business, right? The business gets a benefit, and, like, there's benefits for the business to do so. That's not that they shouldn't do it, and that's not that they're not donating to charity. I'm not saying that Mr. Beast isn't doing good things. I'm saying what he's doing is his business is built around doing charity. But he's not doing charity, he's doing business, and his business is filming people in need with him coming in as good guy savior Jimmy to help these people that are currently suffering, which is called exploitation. because he's making money off of filming the doing of the charity, which is his business, not actually charity. God, it's okay. We are stuck in a loop. All right. So Caden said, Jessica's asked, Caden, do you understand that businesses use charity for a tax write-off? Yeah, right? Caden says, yes, Jessica. Does that mean giving 1,000 people a surgery they need is a bad thing? No, ellipses. Paying for 1,000 people's healthcare, how awful. No, that's not what anybody is saying. The world is not black and white. Nobody's saying that people, individuals, getting a thing that they need is a bad thing. Nobody said that. Where did anybody say that? Argument from emotion, yeah. Never said it's a bad thing, Caden. That's not the point. Exactly, it's not the point. And there's also a difference between something that is helpful for one individual when, let's say for, like, okay, let's talk about something that would be an actual, like, charitable thing, like actual philanthropy. What does that look like? So, for example, if Mr. Beast was to set up a scholarship program that he makes no money off of, like, the kids who get the scholarship aren't, like, required to make videos for Mr. Beast, or they're not required to make any kind of contribution to his business or his content. And all you had to do was follow the normal channels to get you apply for the scholarship and you get the scholarship or you don't. That would be charity. But as soon as he uses, like, the essay that this kid has to write, or he interviews them, or goes to their house himself and films himself at their house knocking on the door and saying, you got the scholarship, that's not charity anymore. That's not philanthropy, because he is now making money off the person that he is then giving them to. And for example, right, this gets a little bit more insidious, right? So for example, if you were to do something that's ethically questionable, like, I don't know, have a guy be locked inside of a grocery store, and for every day he's there, he gets $10,000, right? Cool. Fine, let's say that's ethically okay to do for whatever reason. Because the guy's making money, that makes it ethical, right? Let's pretend that's ethical for a second. If you were, right, to make more money than you give away to that person by any amount, you've exploited that person's suffering. Because you filmed their suffering that you set them up to do to make money. Right? So if I film myself giving a homeless person like $100 and I make $10,000 off of that video, and that homeless person only ever got $100, and the only reason I'm making money is because of them, because it makes me look good, I'm a bad person. Does that mean that homeless person didn't benefit from that $100? No, they still benefited from the $100. Nobody's saying they're not benefiting from the $100. I'm the bad person, though, because I just exploited that person's suffering to make a shitload more money that homeless person is never going to see. He hides behind the claim of charity as a cascade, right? Yeah, that's another thing. My point still stands that the charity wouldn't exist without the business existing in the first place. So I look at it as a positive, and maybe it's just a different perspective. I don't think that that's accurate. So if Mr. Beast didn't have any of his money, where would that money be? Right? I think that statement is actually way more complicated than I think you intended. So if you say, if I didn't make that money, if I didn't make 10 grand off of the video that I made of that $100 that I gave to a homeless person, and then I'd use $200 of that 10 grand to give $100 to 2 homeless people to make 20 grand, that's still 3 homeless people with $300. Right? That's what you're saying. And now I have just under $30,000. Right? Are you following that? Facade as Fascade. I'm an idiot, sorry. Facade. You're treating his business and his charity as two different things. They are the same thing. Right. Right. Business, let's do morally questionable things for money. Hey, listen, at least Jackass was very transparent and forward about what they were doing. And it was like the 90s. Like, it was also, Jackass also was not marketed towards children, because that's a whole other ethical question behind Mr. Beast's, like, empire, is that it's exploitative towards children. Same problem with Logan Paul, actually. Morning brain. No, I can't even use that excuse. I'm just an idiot. Listen, I acknowledge my mistakes. I read that incorrectly, and I did the dumb. I have no excuse for that. I mean, legally, Beast Philanthropy is a separate nonprofit entity. I'm not asking about Beast Philanthropy. Stop moving the goalposts. You keep changing what you're saying to try to justify and not actually confront the criticism. You're doing the thing that I'm saying that Mr. Beast has been doing in this video. He's moving the goalpost. He's deflecting the criticism by bringing up something else. Don't get me wrong, there are issues with Mr. Beast's philanthropy as well, particularly falsifying edits, which he talks about in this video and admits that they did, but it was just a mistake because you just accidentally did that. And that was not a good, you can't mistakenly, it was just a mistake. It was a mistake to mislead people, or it was a mistake to do the edit. He claimed that the edit was a mistake, and it's like, what the fuck does that mean? But whatever, that's a different thing. You said his charity and business were the same thing. Legally, they're not. One is a nonprofit. No, that's a different specific LLC. Mr. Beast Philanthropy is a specifically different entity that is already under question. People already don't trust it, partly due to the editing, and partly due to Mr. Beast's other stuff. We have not mentioned a single Mr. Beast Philanthropy video here. We've been talking about Mr. Beast's videos and Mr. Beast directly. And yes, that's something that Black Spider said. Nobody has mentioned Mr. Beast Philanthropy, except for you just now. We weren't talking about that. I have questions about Mr. Beast Philanthropy, but I have not done the research to actually definitively say one way or another whether or not that's actually a legitimate thing, because that would actually be a legal issue if he, because there actually is one thing that he brought up in this video that I went looking for last time and was not able to confirm. So in this interview, he was talking about this hospital video, which I was not able to find, where there was an edit in it that made it look suspect, right? And Mr. B said that they did a behind the scenes video, and without that behind the scenes video, people wouldn't even have had the information to criticize us in the first place, as if that helps. It doesn't, but fine. And I immediately had a question and said, did he put the BTS video, the behind the scenes video, on the Mr. Beast Philanthropy channel or his own channel? Because if he put it on his own channel, then he's using the assets and the filming of his charity video to make money on his regular videos. That's his charity. We're talking about his charity from my perspective. Then you're not listening. The video I mentioned is one that is on his channel. We're not talking about Mr. Beast Philanthropy. But in this case, now I am. Is the video, do you know, Caden, you seem to be a fan of his. Do you know if the behind the scenes making of this hospital video, because I wasn't able to confirm it last time. I went looking and I wasn't able to find it. Do you know if the behind the scenes video was on the Mr. Beast Philanthropy channel or if it was on his channel? Everybody here was on the same page except for you, and you were on a different page as of a minute ago. So, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here. So does that new context change any of your points? Oh, you've hit the goalpost here. Let me move it over because I didn't count the last time you hit it. Oh, okay. I'm actually curious if Caden might know the answer. Like, that's a legitimate question that I have. I'm not accusing Mr. Beast of doing this. I haven't been able to confirm. Yes, I know. That's what I'm talking about. The delay! The YouTube delay! Cry. I wish that YouTube Lives had, like, the same kind of delay rate as Twitch did. That would be wonderful. Unfortunately. Yes, I am talking about what he said in this video. He claims that they did a behind-the-scenes video of this hospital video, and I want to know where that video was posted. Was that video, the behind-the-scenes video of the hospital video, posted on the Mr. Beast Philanthropy channel, or was it posted on one of Mr. Beast's other channels? Because the way he said it is it made it sound like it was on a different channel, which would be massively problematic. That would be a huge ethical concern and actually might be a legal issue.
Me too. So, but yeah.
He's not a big fan of Lunchley.
He's not. That's one thing for sure.
Oh, gee, I wonder if it's because of the mold.
Does not like Lunchley.
By commenting on his video, you left a comment on Soggy's video after it was posted. You said, "This is finally a video that doesn't spread baseless slander about me."
Yeah, I mean,
Lol.
obviously that was a stupid comment. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, how do you think that looks? I mean...
Yeah, dumb.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Especially the LOL that...
So are you going to take responsibility for that? Are you going to say how it's dumb? Are you going to, like... What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
sad, yeah.
question. Dumb.
Yeah.
The answer, dumb. Yes.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, I guess so. So, yeah.
No elaboration, no why it's stupid, what you were thinking at the time, nothing? Wow, that's the most direct, that thing is dumb, I think we've gotten so far.
It's like, it kind of gives weight to you sort of taking the situation lightly. Like, if anybody should be taking the situation lightly, it should be like...
Yes, he's been being flippant and has not taken the criticism seriously, which is why he's on Oompaville's channel discussing it instead of, like, you know, somewhere that would make sense.
Me or Soggy or people like, you know, people who aren't actively involved in the situation. You know, how would you put that worry, that concern at ease for someone who's, like, you know, willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, which I think is super important. And you know, you say something like that, and then it seems like you are taking the situation in general lightly.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, honestly, there's just a lot of disinformation that was correct in that video. And I just wrote that comment and then right afterwards sent it to a couple of YouTubers, which, because just like, finally this, you know, this thing is here, but I agree. Like, dumb comment.
Legal and ethical.
So were you taking it seriously or not? Do you acknowledge these criticisms and issues? Apparently not. Apparently not. Okay. Holy shit. God, this is such a softball interview.
Ethical issues. I feel like this is probably going to be a little bit more sort of, we're going to need
more ethical issues.
Some facts on screen to back up like whatever's being said here, just to, you know, because like there's only so much you can say. Yeah. So, and Soggy did a good job of sort of disproving a lot of these claims just in general, or, you know, giving weight to one.
Oompa! All right, sweetheart, darling, please don't undermine the criticism or the ethical questions that you're going to present before you ask them. Please stop relying on a third party's video to do the work for the first party that is literally sitting in front of you right now. You don't have to do that. In fact, I would argue that you probably shouldn't do that. Mr. Beast is not a child. He runs a multi-million-dollar business. He's a big boy. He's not. He's actually quite childish and immature, but that's not the point. You can't treat him that way. You need to treat him the way any other, well, I guess people treat Elon Musk this way too. Why do we keep treating billionaires like they're children? Like, why do we keep doing this? Gotta poison the well first. I like Oompa as a person, but his interview skills wouldn't get him on Fox and Friends. Oh, that's not very nice. I actually enjoy Oompa as well. So, like I said, I'm trying to be as constructive for Oompa as possible. He also said at the very beginning of this video in a preamble that he's not the best person to be doing this, which again begs the question, then why are you? And also, and also that he's never done anything like this before, so he's doing his best. And the next question is, so why is Mr. Beast doing this with Oompaville? Which I've already talked about, so I'm not going to go into it here, but I'm trying to be as constructive to Oompa as I can, and I'm trying to be as, like, I'm being as charitable with Mr. Beast as I can be, but he's giving a whole lot of, he's not giving me a lot to work with. Mr. Beast is Chex Noakes 26. He hasn't been a child in over 8 years. Yes. I like Oompa just fine. Like, the only, like, criticism that I have for Oompa, like, on a whole, is that I think he does too much fake neutral, where, like, he's very lukewarm on the issues that he talks about. So, like, he'll say something that this person has definitively done this awful thing, and his response to that is, I don't know, but that seems pretty bad. It's like, oh yeah, does it? So, in that way, like, that's a thing that he does that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm trying to be as, like, charitable and as, constructive as I can be. And again, I know he's put out a response to this, but I have not watched it yet, and I'm going to watch it until I'm done with this one. So let's keep going.
Ones that deserve to have weight given to them. Yeah. So watch his video. Obviously, he did a lot of work on this stuff. So Dawson claimed that you ran multiple illegal lotteries, and, you know, in Soggy's video, he sort of, I think, disproved 2. Yes. And then 1 he still believes was an illegal lottery.
Yes.
Do you believe that you ran an illegal lottery? Did you believe at the time? What was your mindset? Did you
just ask Mr. Beast if he broke the law? In, like, the softest way possible. This is like Piers Morgan asking Andrew Tate, well, did you have women that you misled and brought over to Romania? Instead of, like, what Piers Morgan actually asked, which is, did you do it? Okay, alright, sorry, go on, answer the question.
Do you believe that you ran an illegal lottery? Did you believe at the time? What was your mindset? Did you check with the FCC? Was there any compliance, any steps taken to prevent this? What
That's a lot of eye movement.
What is your just perspective on that?
Yes. So I don't think we did. I have people looking into it and, like, trying to pull the footage and figure it out. You know, he disproved the 2, which, I mean, those were crazy. I don't want to just, like, speculate. I have a team looking into it. I don't think we did, though. But regardless, just to be truthful, if people want a refund or think for whatever reason, like, we did something wrong, like, I'll send you a link that you can just put in the description where they can get a refund. Maybe just throw it on the screen here.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, at the moment, that's all I really have to say. Maybe I could do a follow-up in the future. I'm trying to, you know, dig up all the footage from that live stream.
So his answer is maybe. We might have. All right, let's see. What does he got here? FAQ. How do I claim a refund for the limited signed Mr. Beast t-shirt hoodie? Claim your refund. You'll need your order number and the email address used for the purchase. See our terms and conditions for eligible refunds. So bro has terms and conditions but doesn't know whether or not what he did was legal. Locate your, if you need help locating your, do I need to return my signed hoodie? No, you don't need to return your items. What if I can't find my order number? If you're unable to find your order number, step 1, check your email box. Step 2, email, okay, like, yeah, this is all just, like, normal fucking stuff. How can I contact customer support? What payment methods are available? Refunds will be provided to be, via digital Visa gift. You're refunding people in gift cards? All right. Sure. Okay. How I receive my gift card, please allow 30 days for verification. Once processed, you'll receive an email with your digital Visa gift card. All right. How much money will I get back? You'll be refunded what you paid for each item. The refund is excluding any shipping costs, taxes, duties, and restocking fees. So if you paid for shipping, you're not getting your shipping costs back. And you're not getting a full refund. That is illegal in the EU. In the EU, you're entitled to the refund for the exact manner as you've paid. I don't know that if this is legal in America. It might be. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure if that's legal. What if my refund voucher doesn't work? If you encounter any issues with your refund voucher, such as it not working at checkout or showing an invalid code, please reach out to our customer support team via email immediately. We'll assist you troubleshooting. Sure. I don't know how you're gonna do that. Like, this sounds like that's not, like, how are you possibly gonna assist in troubleshooting? Like, reissuing a Visa, a new one voucher would be fine, but, like, what should I do if I'm not happy with the refund process? If you're unsatisfied with the refund process or need further assistance, please contact our support team. We'll do our best to resolve the issue to your satisfaction. If needed, we can escalate your case for a more in-depth review. It's not super legal in Canada either, and at least not in Ontario. Yeah. What happens if and here's the other problem. So there are likely people from the EU or from Canada that bought this where what he's offering is illegal. Mr. Beast's the people who watch Mr. Beast and buy stuff from him aren't only in America. So that this is now potentially a massive legal issue for Mr. Beast and their company should a single person, even one, be from outside of America. Maybe that's not in the FAQ. Hold on. Before we jump to conclusions, let's double check. Let's see the refunds.com and see if, nope, that's not going to help me. All right, let's try policies. Is there for if you're not American? Because maybe they've got like a subsection of, like, if you're not American, go through this route instead. Right? You know, like, that could be in here. So let's not jump to conclusions. Hold on, Mr. Beast store. And you are not completely satisfied with your purchase for any reason, you are eligible for a refund of the original purchase price, excluding shipping, blah, blah, blah. We have to file eligible purposes of refunds, blah, 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 come in terms of refund and verifications, blah, 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 blah. That's all fine. To make, like, the not shipping cost is kind of shitty, but, especially, okay, so here's the thing. The reason why, like, not doing the shipping and taxes stuff is kind of shitty is because this dude is a fucking millionaire. He can't just give people their money back, really? Like, really? Why? Are you serious? Come on, man. They're gonna make it a hassle. Yes, they're making it a hassle. Because of course they are. Why wouldn't they make it a hassle? They're a fucking company who's being shitty. Because they're rich people. We don't... to make a refund request, click the link, enter the blah, 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 blah. Request Shopify account. Wait, hold on. Purchase order number can be found on your Shopify account. Okay, that's fine. Refunding request must be submitted 30 days of the site going live, ending on December 23rd. So you have... Wait, when did this come out? This video came out on November 22nd. So he gave people less than a month from when this video came out. And I do not know if he made a public statement on his YouTube channel or not. So, we'd have to double check that. Oh wait, so 30 days of the site going live, which means the site would have gone live on November 22nd or November 23rd. So, assuming that it went live, he gave people a month, and that's it. And he may or may not have made people aware. But he does charity. Great. In some countries, you're entitled to also have the shipping and tax back, yes. Azure Wish is no longer valid, and no refunds on eligible purchases will be given. I don't think that's legal in some countries as well. I think that if you offer it, it has to be permanent. That might not be the case for every place. Your refund will be given in the form of a digital Visa card, virtual card. So yeah, it's a gift card. Blah blah blah. Online or shopping retailers in the United States. Okay, so here's the other problem: redeemable anywhere. The virtual card is accepted online or at supporting retailers in the United States. That's one of the reasons why it's illegal to do this in other countries, because it's not actually giving you your money back. It's giving you your money back under certain circumstances with certain caveats and strings attached to it. So this might not be a viable way to get your money back if you're not American. So unless this was only given out and sold to Americans, this is not viable. Depending on if there's a retroactive cutoff or not, this could cost him hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, especially if this is found out to be not legal procedure, this could cost him even more. But he's got shitloads of money. So, like, sorry that I don't care about Mr. Beast's wallet. My bad. Once your refund request has been verified and accepted, you'll receive an email, blah, 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 according to its terms, blah, 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 no emphasis, blah, 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 chat, blah, 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 blah. Please allow 24 hours to respond. Wait a minute. Wait, this says 30 days. Wait, hold on. Let me reopen the FAQ again. Wait a second. How will I receive my refund? Please allow up to 30 days for verification and processing? So he expects you to submit something, wait for it to be verified. You have to wait the amount of time that it's verified for the refund to no longer then be available. And then if it's not verified and you have to resubmit, it's past the time and you don't get anything. Am I saying his wallet's about to become the Brazers meme? Well, I'm not saying it's going to. I'm just saying that it's a possible. We're edging. We're edging. We're near that edge. You know what I mean? It's Logan Paul's company is currently under Ontario investigation. Like the province is investigating him for like his company for fraudulent shit. He's not named in the lawsuit, but it's his company. For it being a scam. So it's not like Logan Paul is out because he's a YouTuber is outside of like a government body looking into their business practices, just as an example. So it is possible that this could get in, something like this could get picked up or looked at or reviewed by like a board in the UK, right? Like it's possible. But that's shitty. Again, for somebody with so much money, you don't think he could have like I understand that verification process takes a long period of time, but could he not really extend this by a longer period of time? Of course he could. Of course he could. Blah, 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 general conditions. We will not provide refund or submissions that are not in compliance with these terms. We are not responsible for false or incorrect, charge incomplete, or unintelligible information you provide as part of it. Huh? What? Trading, buying, selling your eligibility for a refund is in violation of these terms and may result in disqualifications. Persons who tamper with or abuse any aspect of this refund offer are solely determined by us, and our reasonable discretion will not be entitled to a refund. Attempts made to earn more than the number of refunds a person is entitled to by using multiple or false contact contact information, accounts, or otherwise may result in loss of eligibility for refund at our reasonable discretion. So if you use 2 email accounts, or if you use the same email account for 2 different ones, they might kick you out and fuck you. Refund requests generated by a script, computer program, macro programmed, robotic, or other automated means are void and may be disqualified in our reasonable discretion. So if somebody who has no hands, or has arms that don't function, they can't type, use a text-to-speech to submit their request, you're just not, you're holding on to the discretion to not refund them. Guys, he's the good charity guy. People say that capitalism is amoral, but more and more it seems it's like it should have had an asterisk. Yeah, I agree with that. Capitalism is amoral. Asterisk. The people doing capitalism are not amoral. Refund requests submitted by those who do not meet the eligibility requirements are void. Are you going to inform people of that? Or are they going to wait 30 days and then, because they made a mistake, they're not going to be able to resubmit? Any potential refund recipient may be required to provide additional information to verify eligibility at our reasonable discretion. We do not assume any responsibility for any disruptions in the offer, including but not limiting the failure or interruption of any third-party platform or any internet service/website hosting provider. So if their website crashes and you don't submit, and your stuff doesn't get submitted within the 30 days because of a website crash, too bad. And if your gift card doesn't work because of a third-party website crash, too bad. Okay. A waiver of any portion of these terms shall not be considered a waiver of any other portion of these terms, and failure by us to enforce any provision of these terms shall not be constituted as a waiver of any right to enforce that provision or any other provision in the future to you or any other party. Yeah, okay. In the event there is a discrepancy or inconsistency between statements contained in any refund offer messaging and these terms shall prevail, govern, and control. Personal information submitted in connection with your refund request will be used as described in our privacy policy. Oh, so what's the privacy? Okay, no, I'm not looking up the privacy policy. I'm assuming it's bullshit. But yeah, this offer is made by Mr. Beast YouTube LLC. So, there is no provision in here for if you are outside of America. So, 2 things need to be confirmed. Was this offer of donations only available to Americans? If not, there needs to be some kind of provision in here, or this is illegal if anybody is in the UK. So, take that for what you will. Mr. Rogers' voice. Hello, neighbor. It's so good to see you. Today we are talking about class action lawsuits. Can you say class action? Good God. Did you see me give charity and the benefit of the doubt to Mr. Beast to say, well, hold on, before we jump into could be legal issues in the UK, let's double check to make sure there isn't a provision for outside of America. Well, there's no provision for outside of America, so every time I give Mr. Beast a monochrome of charity, he shoves it in my face. He spits on me. I'm okay with him scamming the British, though. Well, that's a... Is that one of the good things that he's doing? Scamming British people? Does that count? All right, it's 2:30. We're gonna end it here. I'm gonna be done. We didn't get very far in the video, but I think we had productive conversation with Caden, so I appreciate that. Again, that's mostly what these videos are for. We only made it like 10 minutes. Oh no. So I guess like at some point I'm gonna have to watch this other guy's video talking about and debunking the dog pack video, but I don't really feel like I need to because I think that I can debunk whatever I feel like I want to about the dog pack video regardless, right? Like I already didn't like, some of his points were better than others and some of them were like didn't hold much weight to me. So I feel like that's enough and I don't need this other guy's video, but it really sucks that the main party is relying so heavily without giving us specifics. He's just saying, oh, that really stood up for me, or oh yeah, that made sense, and debunked dog pack's video, but it's like they're not telling us which parts. It's non-specific. It's specifically vague. So now I can't even go and watch this other video and see what the main character, the main other person, the primary source is telling me. I don't even know. So without that information, it's useless. It doesn't mean anything. Anyway, bye. I'm done. It's Friday tomorrow. I'm gonna go play Mart over on Twitch. So if you guys are interested in like whatever the hell we end up talking about over on Mart, come and join me over on Twitch. Link is in the description down below. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something, or if you didn't, I hope you were at least entertained. I'm gonna get out of here. I've been Chesh. See you next time. See you tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. We're not doing Dumb Fact Friday for the next little bit. It's on hiatus right now, so I will be back tomorrow doing more of this. Same bat time, same bat place. I'm going to be starting at 12:30 instead of 12 because 12 seemed to be too early for you guys, which is fine. I get that. I like to sleep too. So when I'm able to pass out. So I will see you guys tomorrow at 12:30. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you guys over on Mart. Store opens at 4. Bye-bye.